Thank you, sir. My David, the King of Jacob. Donald J. Trump. Jeremiah 33:15-17. In those days, and at that time, will I cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. In those days shall Judah be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely, and this is the name wherewith she shall be called, the Lord our righteousness. For thus saith the Lord, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. Psalms 89:15-29. Blessed is the people that know the joyful sound, they shall walk, O Lord, in the light of thy countenance. In thy name shall they rejoice all the day, and in thy righteousness shall they be exalted. For thou art the glory of their strength, and in thy favor our horn shall be exalted. For the Lord is our defense, and the Holy One of Israel is our King. Then thou spakest in vision to thy Holy One, and saidst, I have laid help upon one that is mighty, I have exalted one chosen out of the people. I have found David my servant, with my holy oil have I anointed him. With whom my hand shall be established, mine arm also shall strengthen him. The enemy shall not exact upon him, nor the son of wickedness afflict him. And I will beat down his foes before his face, and plague them that hate him. But my faithfulness and my mercy shall be with him, and in my name shall his horn be exalted. I will set his hand also in the sea, and his right hand in the rivers. He shall cry unto me, Thou art my Father, my God, and the rock of my salvation. Also I will make him my firstborn, higher than the kings of the earth. My mercy will I keep for him for evermore, and my covenant shall stand fast with him. His seed also will I make to endure forever, and his throne as the days of heaven. Ezekiel 33:1-3. Again the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, When I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coasts, and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet, and warn the people. Ezekiel 33:7. So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel, therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth, and warn them from me. Ezekiel 32:10. Yea, I will make many people amazed at thee, and their kings shall be horribly afraid for thee, when I shall brandish my sword before them, and they shall tremble at every moment, every man for his own life, in the day of thy fall. Isaiah 41:15. Behold, I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth, thou shalt thresh the mountains, and beat them small, and shalt make the hills as chaff. Job 15:21. A dreadful sound is in his ears, in prosperity the destroyer shall come upon him. Daniel 7:7. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Watchman's note: the Lord's sword is for about 25 years that I know of. FEMA Camp Guillotine, FEMA Camp Walmart. Treat the poor afflicted as you would treat Lord. Eggs over easy bacon crisp. Our ballot. Donald J. Trump wrote Executive Order 13,818, and from what I can tell he is spearheading the operations along. Still pray return to the Lord? He pardons. Human rights violations from the Global Magnitsky Gross Human Rights Violations Abuse and Accountability Act. This is the main foundation that the Lord builds his kingdom on, the poor afflicted sufferers and who relieved them, who the Lord was a picture of. Isaiah 55. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon. Isaiah 21:10. O my threshing, and the corn of my floor, that which I have heard of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, have I declared unto you. Job 24:24. They are exalted for a little while, but are gone and brought low, they are taken out of the way as all other, and cut off as the tops of the ears of corn. Numbers 22:23-24 and 26. And the ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand, and the ass turned aside out of the way, and went into the field, and Balaam smote the ass, to turn her into the way. But the angel of the Lord stood in a path of the vineyards, a wall being on this side, and a wall on that side. And the angel of the Lord went further, and stood in a narrow place, where there was no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left. 1 Chronicles 21:27-29 and 30. And Ornan turned back, and saw the angel, and his 4 sons with him hid themselves. Now Ornan was threshing wheat. But David could not go before it to inquire of God, for he was afraid because of the sword of the angel of the Lord. And the Lord commanded the angel, and he put up his sword again into the sheath thereof. For the tabernacle of the Lord, which Moses made in the wilderness, and the altar of the burnt offering, were at that season in the high place at Gibeon. But David could not go before it to inquire of God, for he was afraid because of the sword of the angel of the Lord. Watchman's note: David Ornan and Ornan's 4 sons feared the Lord's sword. Don't forget the jackass feared the Lord's sword. 2. I love the Lord. I think we are going to be standing on mountains of prey only to be wanting to see him. Singing. Drying our tears. Oh, it's going to be a quantum debit card with $1,000 a day limit. We all have grand folks from a lawsuit. The Farmers Union claimed the bankers were committing fraud by the 1929 stock market crash was manipulation to commit fraud against the American public, along with going off the gold-backed dollar standard. Also, the Supreme Court ruled that income tax was not ratified by the correct number of states, ruling income tax was unlawful. An important situation exists that we having a global civil war going on. The alliance and all militaries is getting rid of gross human trafficking in the world. All militaries of the world must finish off rescuing people classed as gross victims of human trafficking in global Magnitsky Gross Human Rights Violations Abuse and Accountability Act. Executive Order 13818 freezes all gross human traffickers' assets and those that do business with them. America, as with our early traditions, will cause an increased awarenesses and respect for human rights around the world. We are not alone. 178 countries make up this alliance. These laws are not too hard to find, not really codified in American law except 22 U.S.C. 2304 D1, which would include the United Nations Charter Article 1, and every country must become Basel compliant gold-backed currency. Man will never be free until then. To get this generational monetary interest the Lord has prepared amidst much suffering, the poor afflicted sufferers, is our ballot to vote against human trafficking. The World Court found that this class of people were being tormented to death by calculated drugs to disrupt the profundity of their personalities profoundly. Ultimately, because it was to death, the court raised the classification to torture, providing tremendous legal liability exposure to the increasingly thinly veiled innocent bystander. Your best dollar spent. Cover your bases. Fortunes and futures are worth protecting. Isaiah 55:6-13. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found, call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon. For ye shall go out with joy, and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills shall break forth before you into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. For an everlasting sign that shall not be cut off. Watchman's note: I want to mention that the pronouns of the Bible many times, the Lord, me, he, him, is a parable or sometimes a revelation of the branch, or Zechariah 3:3, 8. Now Joshua was clothed with filthy garments, and stood before the angel. Hear now, O Joshua the high priest, thou, and thy fellows that sit before thee, for they are men wondered at. For, behold, I will bring forth my servant the branch. Keep praying to the Lord and the Father in heaven. Seeking the Lord's face. Don't forget. Find his face in suffering, poor, afflicted. Remember, the Lord was in the Bible a picture of suffering. Proverbs 8:20. I lead in the way of righteousness, in the midst of the paths of judgment. Proverbs 29:7. The righteous considereth the cause of the poor, but the wicked regardeth not to know it. Isaiah 51:21-23. Therefore hear now this, thou afflicted, and drunken, but not with wine. Thus saith thy Lord the Lord, and thy God that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down, that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground, and as the street, to them that went over. Isaiah 51:20. Thy sons have fainted, they lie at the head of all the streets, as a wild bull in a net. They are full of the fury of the Lord and the rebuke of thy God. Proverbs 1:32. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. Proverbs 31:8 and 9. Open thy mouth for the dumb in the cause of all such as are appointed to destruction. Open thy mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. Job 29:15-16. I was eyes to the blind, and was feet to the lame. I was a father to the poor, and the cause which I knew not I searched out. Vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. Proverb 8:21. That I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasury. Account. Jeremiah 22:16 He judged the cause of the poor and needy, then it was well with him. Was not this to know